All right, we're live, Chris. It says we're live.
Happening. Yep.
There's a bunch of new stuff on StreamYard that I'm not used to, so I don't know
Yeah.
what's all here. So we want to say what's up to Slay Trout Jigs. Thanks for
Yep.
coming in.
He's in here.
And what we're doing tonight is we're just talking about our fishing trip that we went on. You came to my place and we went out and fished. I guided you around the lake there to get get on some fish,
Two
but
times.
2 times.
Yep.
But this one was better than last time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, we're just talking about. I'm starting a goal too. If anybody's in here, we're gonna start the goal. If we hit our goal tonight, I am giving away a short sleeve shirt from my Off the Hook apparel store. So if we hit our goal tonight, that's what we're doing. And then I will mention the fish angler stuff, and then the giveaways for the fish angler stuff is if more people come in. So we got 4 people in here right now. So make sure you're hitting that like button and sharing us out if you get a chance. We're gonna go for about 45 minutes to an hour tonight. We're just talking fishing. For me, before we get into our trip or anything, Chris, I'll
Yeah.
talk a little bit about the season so far. It hasn't been a really great season for me for big fish. I've only got
Mhm.
one big fish. There's 4 pounds. That's a big fish for up there, but
Yeah, it
the
would be.
the frog bite is not on at all. I'm hoping this weekend it's on with my son because I want to make a video. I didn't even get a chance to make any videos fishing this year because it's been so bad that I
All right.
really couldn't make a video. Now you did record our last trip, so you got all the catches on your Tacticam, which is cool,
Yes.
and you'll be
Yep.
coming out with a video on that soon.
Yep.
But
Yep.
um, I was more worried about getting you on fish and stuff, so I wasn't worried about recording. But you had a nice little setup over there
Yeah.
on
No.
the back of the boat and everything. I looked really
Right.
good. So,
Yeah,
but
we had
yeah,
a good time.
yeah. Now, what about? I know when we were talking on the boat and everything before our trip, like you were fishing up around your way in the river, and you were catching. Surprisingly, you were catching some nice trout
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that heat and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, really surprised me because like usually when it gets the water warms up like it does, uh usually the trout run up into the creeks, the mouth of the creeks, because they got all that mountain spring water coming down in there, and
yeah.
they're just soaking in that cold water.
Hmm.
And surprisingly, um, like you said, it's just been a weird year for me as well.
Hmm.
But a productive fishing time, I'm catching lots of fish, but usually this time of year, the trout shut down in the river. And like I said, they run up in the creeks. And
Yeah.
I'm not that much of a trout fisherman. I don't target them, but
Yeah.
they're in the river with the bass that I fish. So, like, to my surprise, I was catching some large trout. I mean, some ones that been in there a couple years,
That's awesome.
and it just blew my mind that they were out there in that warm water, hanging
Yeah.
out, uh, sharing the same holes with the bass. I was standing on one. I stood stationary in one spot and was just catching fish after fish off the same rock.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Now that's cool that you're doing that. You should start doing some fishing content on your channel, Chris.
Yeah, I want to see how this content turned out on this fisheye Tacticam,
Yeah.
and I'll decide from there because that's probably what I'll carry since it's so lightweight.
Yeah.
Either that or I'll go with like maybe a chesty
Yeah.
GoPro or something, you know.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think I'm gonna start getting down there and showing some rip lipping. The only problem with that is there's a lot of locals that watch, and I kind of hate
Yeah.
to give away my spots, but
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta say Lake X, or you can't show. But I guess they'll know the spots if they see the river.
yeah, they might see it, but oh
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
There's plenty
That's
of
cool.
fish to go around if everybody throws them back.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, we went horizontal today. I've been going vertical a lot on our lives, and I've been getting a lot of feedback from that, Chris. I hear people saying, they don't like the small screen, the vertical lives.
They
They
don't
don't
like
like
it, huh?
that. They like to see more of the fishing area with the horizontal. So I think I'm going to listen to all the followers and subscribers and all my friends and stuff, and I'll do verticals probably just in house. I'm not going to be out
Yeah.
on the. Hey, there's Dave right there. What's up, Dave? Thanks for coming
What's
in, buddy.
up?
And I think the vertical lives, I mean, you get more views and stuff on it, but
Yeah.
The quality and the content quality of that is I think it's better horizontal because you get to see more of what's going on. So
Right.
I'm gonna listen to everybody, and I'm gonna do the horizontal out on a boat from now on. I'm not gonna do the verticals as much. But if I'm sitting here like at the house by myself or something, I'll do a vertical or something like that
Right.
every now and then. But I'm gonna stay with the horizontal for sure.
Yeah. I think
Mm.
everybody likes to see everything around you happening
Yeah,
and
for
get the
sure.
full picture.
Yeah, for sure.
So
And tonight I'm doing it on my phone tonight. I'm not on my computer because tonight my son was going to karate, and I told you he was going to karate. I was going to do a live tonight. My wife was taking him. Well, here the Pony League called him up to play in the older division tonight. So we're gonna go see that game tonight at like 8:15. It starts 8:30. So we're gonna
yeah.
do this live, and then I'm gonna go. But I didn't set up everything because I want to be able to tear it down quickly
Cool.
and get out of here and go watch my son play some Pony League. It's gonna be exciting because he's gonna be
Yeah.
playing next year. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Like I keep telling you, man, it's just go with it. They're
Yeah,
only
I
young
hear.
once, man. They're young
Yeah.
once.
But we had some good conversations on the boat. When we're together on the boat and stuff like that, we bring up
Yeah.
some topics and talk a little bit of personal issues and things like that and personal
Yeah.
things that we
Yeah.
have. It's always nice to have somebody on the boat with you to talk to and stuff.
For
So
sure.
so let's get into our trip a little bit. So
Yeah.
our trip on this it was very expensive for you. You paid me to guide you around the lake and I hope
Yeah.
I didn't disappoint you.
Yeah. I I paid you that $10 back for
For
them lures that I borrowed off you.
yeah, the fishing lures, the
So
Rapalas.
let's start there. Let's start
Yeah.
there. So
Go ahead.
I get up at 5 a.m. I drive an hour and a half to Ted's, and there he's just getting rousted around, and he says, "Hey," and I didn't realize that when I got there that was like a whole community flea market type thing going on,
Yeah.
which is very cool. I like that idea. Like it was like a freaking block party, man. Everybody out walking the streets, visiting everybody's driveway and saying hi, and yeah, it's pretty cool. You know,
We
get
had a
to
little
learn
bit
who
of a
your
setup.
neighbors are.
Yeah, we had a
Y-
little bit of a setup, huh, Chris?
Yeah, yeah. Freaking Meemaw had it going on there. She had a whole Pulinoski store there going on there.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she
She
and
about sold everything too.
I never took my baits up because I never have time to take like my
Yeah, yeah,
baits or my clothing or anything up there. But maybe
right.
next year. I always say that every year, Chris.
Yeah, it'd be a good idea to put some baits out.
Yeah, in my
So
cards.
so yeah, so when I get there, Ted's like, "Hey, they got this thing going on here. We're yard selling, and the guy on the next street over, he's got all kind of fishing equipment and lures and things." And I'm like, "Well, I'm game. Let's go. I got all day." So we go over there, and I'm not a flea market yard sale guy. I was kind of hanging out at the end of the driveway. And Ted's like, "Hey, Chris, come here. You check this out." He's like, "They got Rapalas over here." I'm like, "What?" That's all I heard one word, and I was there. Boom. I was right there, and I was like, "Dang, this dude had Rapalas out the yin yang, and they were cheap." And I was like, "Dude, I only have what did I have on me? $10.
$10. Yep.
I think I had $10. So Ted's like, "Yo, I got you." So he hands me some money, and I go over and I got like $100 worth of Rapalas for $17.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So that was real cool. So yeah, when we went to Walmart later in the day to purchase a few things, why I gave him back his got some cash back and gave him back his money. But
And you got a nice rod out of the deal, huh?
yeah, so that's what I was getting to. So the trip to Walmart, I told Ted before I went up or before I came over there, I said, "Hey, I want to get a good stout rod." See, because last time when I was up there, I, Ted was he set some rods up for me, and like I'm used to like real light action rods, like trout size, smallmouth, because normally the bass around here aren't that great a size. So I had some light tackle. When I got up there and he put me on these heavier, stouter rods, and we're boating them. I don't know what you call that. You land
Boat flipping.
yeah, flip them in the boat without a net or whatever. I was like, I need a good stout rod.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm around here around the house. I call it rock hopping. I go down in my in my waders, and if there's a rock outcropping that juts out into the river, I'll get up on the rock and I'll fish. And sometimes, like in the last 3 weeks, I lost a ton of lures, like trying to flip the fish up out of the water up onto the rock where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
So I was telling Ted about that. I'm like, dude, I need a stout rod and I need good fishing line that isn't going to snap all the time on me, because it was stressing out. It was stressing that line out, flipping them fish up.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you catch the trout, and they're dangling on the line, just flipping out, like they don't calm down like a bass. You can lip them and they just get calm.
Mm-hmm.
But those trout are just crazy, and I lost lures. The line would snap, the fish would bounce off the rock and into the water with my lure in their mouth.
Yeah,
Off they'd flip.
we got you some fluorocarbon too to help with that.
Yep. So it's heavier too. I was running 6 pound, so the fluorocarbon's 10. So it's going to be good. So
Yeah.
yeah, we went up to Walmart, grabbed that. Ted hooked me up. He felt them all and was checking them out. And he's like, hey, I think this is a good buy. So I grabbed it. And then we took it out and used it. That was what was cool. We took
Yeah.
it straight to the lake. We put the line on it, went straight to the lake, put on a Senko, and went out and started yanking them out, man. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Good time.
Talk a little bit about the Sankos, because you never really fished with them until you start fishing with me.
Yeah, I never used those rubber worm. I'm a Rapala guy, like I said. I'm all stick baits, jerk baits, that type of thing. And I got up there, and I know that's what you used a lot, and I was like determined to get onto this thing and get the hang of that. And
Mm-hmm.
when I was up last time a month ago, like we had crappy weather. It was 49 degrees. The water was like 60 or something.
Freezing cold, windy.
It was windy. It was spitting rain. We went live. We just weren't really catching a lot. We did manage boat 24, I do believe, and it was tough. But we got back in a cove, got the wind off of us, and I was watching Ted. He was schooling me really bad on how he was catching them one after another, and I was like, I've got to get the hang of this. And here, what I was doing was, as soon as I felt the bite, I was pulling and yanking the worm right off of him, I believe.
Yep.
So I said to Ted, I'm gonna give him a second, because they get that nibble, nibble, nibble.
Yep.
There's 2, 3 bangs right in a row, and then I paused, and then I'd set the hook, and I started getting them in the boat. It,
Yep.
it, it worked out, and I was getting the hang of it. And then by the time I was really getting a good hang of it, we were done fishing. So this time around, man, I had it down. That first nibble, I was like, okay, I remember this. And then it was muscle memory from there. And
Yeah.
we were just,
We
I
were
don't know how
slamming.
many, I don't know how many we boated.
We got a lot.
It was
This time.
easily over 40.
Yeah, it was. We
Easy.
didn't catch any monsters. I believe you caught the biggest fish of the day at about 15
Yeah.
15 incher, probably close to 3 pounds, 2.5 pounds, 3 pounds.
Yeah.
That was a nice fish. But you were out fishing me with the Sankos, and you were bringing them in. I was using a buzz bait, and you were out fishing me with them Sankos. We caught a lot of fish. But we had some different weather too, Chris. We had real hot weather the week
Yeah.
before, which I believe it's the same scenario as if you have a cold, like you have a cold spell come in. You have a drop in temperature.
It
I believe
changed.
it
Yeah.
works the same way with the heat. When we got up to 98 degrees the week before, that stunts that fish, and it was really unstable weather that week. It was really hot, and then it warmed the water up quickly, which I think affects the fish. And then during the week when you got up there, it was more stable. So I
Yeah.
think everything was coming around. It wasn't full 100% like it normally is there, because how many times did we try frogs and we got a few little bumps, but we didn't catch. I caught a couple on a frog, but it wasn't like, it was few and far between. It was very, very hit and miss on the frogs. And you saw all the good stuff we were fishing. How
Yeah.
many
I
places we fished.
I imagine if they were biting hard, really blowing up and boiling on those frogs, I think I would probably like it.
Yeah.
But man, when we were throwing frogs, I was bored as heck. I
Yep.
was, because they just weren't reacting. you know.
It's a boring and tedious. It's not for the faint of heart at all. And that's what my kids go like Ace and Theo. Like Ace is a little into because he's just gung ho. Theo gets bored with the frog fishing. We got to go and start throwing other stuff.
Yeah.
This weekend though, I'm going to get them out there because I believe this weekend's going to be really good for frogging because
Mhm.
of last week, sort of lull in a way. But I'm gonna try to get a video cut with me and Theo fishing this weekend because we're gonna be the only ones up there.
Right.
So we'll have time to set stuff up, and it's gonna be Theo's quest for his first frogfish. That's gonna be the video.
Mhm.
Last year we tried it a couple times, and he had one on, and he went to boat flip it, and it flipped off, so it didn't count. So
Ooh.
he was really mad at me. We had a little argument on camera. So, but I left it on camera though. I did leave it because I wanted everybody
Yeah.
to see, how it really is. But
Well,
so we'll see. But yeah, frogging up there is really good. Now, it was really hot, stagnant, and then we also had an algae bloom. Hey, Don R, what's up? We had an algae bloom. So we had a film on the water. It was like you bring your frog through the water
hi,
and
Uncle
you could
Don.
see a line of where the path of the frog went, and that's not good on the water. Now, when you're thrown into those weeds, you get your lines from throwing frogs, so you know where you covered. But when you're
Yeah.
doing that and you're bringing it through the water, and your water has green slime on top of it floating,
Yeah.
that's not good. So that shut the fish down too. It like you still got to come down again because
Oh, for
it's
sure.
even better without because we'll tell them what happened. But we were fishing in the morning, and I knew it wasn't that great. That's why I said, Chris, let's go to the flea market first with
Yeah.
the lures and stuff. So that worked out really well. But
Oh
then
yeah.
we went out and we fished for 4 or 5 hours, and then we came back in, and
Yeah.
then we went back out again. And as when we went back after we come back from Walmart and stuff, we went back out again. But then the weather turned on us, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. We got out there and it got a little overcast and it felt nice, it cooled down a little bit. We had that overcast and I was like, this could be really good. And he's like, "You want to get out there?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, if you don't mind, So and he's just right up the street from the dock. So we just walk right down the street, jump in the boat, we take off, we go the whole way across the lake. Uh, I don't know what you call that side,
Graveyard.
graveyard side, but there's like a kind of a embankment, like a wall there or something that borders a road, and it drops off real quick. And we uh we got in there, started catching a couple, and then the sky got dark and we got rained on for I don't know how long, half hour
We
maybe.
were in it. We were in it though. We were in the rain, and
But it didn't feel bad because it was so hot out.
we were catching fish during that time frame.
Yeah, we
And
did.
I switched from a Senko and a frog. I threw a black buzzbait on a mini buzz,
Yes.
and I was catching them one after another because
Yeah, that
I
got nuts. I was
yeah.
getting ready to ask you for a buzz bait.
Well, I asked you. I said put this on, and then he did a different color. He did a chartreuse one because I was throwing black, and I was like, well,
And it
he
just
had
wasn't
one.
working.
No, it wasn't working the color, so the black. So I gave him a
Yeah.
black one. And then you catch one, or did you have a blow up or something? You had a
I had a
couple on.
I had a blow up, but I don't think I hooked one on the buzz.
Yeah, and the buzzbait's kind of tricky too. You
Yeah.
get that fish on there, that's a big hook. So you're
Mhm.
putting that in that fish's mouth, and usually you're catching them in the lip. You're not really getting it jammed in their mouth.
Right.
So the fish will come off really easy. How many did I lose on
Yeah,
that?
right.
Because so
You
you got to
was
keep the
snagging them.
tension.
I mean,
Yeah, we caught a
and
ton of
after
fish that
another.
way, but it was a good time doing that. But then after the rain came in, Chris, and it stopped raining and the sun came out, it slowed down again.
It did. It did. When it got bright out, the fish slowed down.
They went deeper or something.
Something,
Yeah,
you know.
because they weren't as active. Now the little dinks, we were still catching some little dinks on the shoreline
Yeah,
with the buzz baits, like the 12 inchers and stuff like that. But
right.
I'm gonna say we had close to 50, if not more, fish
Yeah.
total in the boat that day. And then on the way over there, you guys leaving? All right, I'll see you over there. On the way down there, you caught that really nice one off of the weed edge that they were
Yeah.
stuck. It's like when it got sunny out, they went back into the weeds into that cover again, and you were flipping the edges, and you end
Mhm.
up catching a nice one off the edge of that weeds.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
that was a good fish. I was surprised at that. Like it didn't it only fought like a dink, until it
Yeah.
got right to the boat, and then it started freaking out.
Yeah.
And you were saying lip it, and I bent over to get that thing, and I grabbed that thing out of the water, and I was like, holy smokes, is that water warm?
Yeah.
Like, I could see why everybody was swimming. And see, that's another thing. There was so much commotion up there. That was 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
There was tubers, jet skis, just pleasure boats, all kind of stuff.
Swimmers. Yeah.
People swimming off their docks and stuff. And we were going all in between all these people, and they were going in between us,
Hmm.
which wasn't all good when you're fishing. But I mean, there was a lot of commotion. The water was stirred up. It was dirty. I could tell, it wasn't as clear as even that last time I was up when it was cooler.
Yep.
They had it churned up, and we still boated a lot of fish.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, just the water clarity, and like when you're there and it goes from decent to dirty while you're there, that affects the fish all, because that's happening right in front of you, and
Yeah.
it affects the fish too. So they got to adjust to that, and then
Mhm.
they're not feeding properly. It takes them a day to get in, get their wits about them again to get back to normal. So there was a lot of changing going on here. So
Yeah.
next time you come down, we need about a week of stable weather, about the same degree, no ups and downs, and in between, 75 and 85 degrees, keeping it in that area there, and nothing cooler, nothing hotter. And then that is awesome bass fishing weather. And then the algae bloom. Now, up at Edinburgh, they do spray the lake. So that could have been some remnants of spray,
Mm.
and all them weeds were dying because you could tell they weren't oxygenated, they weren't green, they weren't growing. Some of that stuff on top, it was
Mm.
all wind blown into the sides, but it was almost like a yellow foamy weed,
Yeah, it was
which
foamy, like.
which is not good for fish because they don't want
No.
to be around it,
Well,
because
sometimes when we threw the frog, it just laid on top. It
it
wasn't
would
even
never even
touching
break
water.
water. It wouldn't even
Yeah.
break water. So it's very, very
So
hard.
where does all that stuff go to in the lake?
It supposedly goes into the water, it like rots or falls.
Falls to the
Like
bottom.
yeah, just like an aquarium. Like you have fish food at the top and it gets waterlogged and wet and it starts floating to the bottom. That's what those
Yeah,
weeds do. And that's where you're getting that stuff. But there is a spillway. We went down a canal,
that
that
canal.
spillway. But what happened was when it rained really hard for that hour, it cleared that slime right off the lake.
Yeah.
It broke it all up and cleared it out, and we were doing well. But then when the sun come on and it quit, everything starts coming back again and going over, and then fish shut down on that. So
Yeah.
there is a lot of, I put don't on there, Dawn. I meant to say Dawn R, not don't. That's a spelling error. So I'm sorry about that, Dawn. It says don't. I don't know why. I didn't look at that. But
Well,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to coming back. I really
mm-hmm.
am.
I'm looking forward to having you. I mean,
I'm
you know,
excited about it.
yeah.
I
And then,
come home and was telling the wife all about it. I was all
yeah.
excited, and she's just looking at me like, "You're freaking nuts."
Yeah, well, after that, after our trip we went out, we were catching them really well. But my son, who I haven't seen all weekend because he was in Ohio at a tournament, we have a family wiffle ball game, and we all went up to the field. So I drug Chris off the lake.
Yeah,
He
we
was
were
nice.
catching, we were catching, and
We were catching.
Ted's like, "We got to go play wiffle ball." I was like, "What?"
What?
I said,
And
"Well, I'll tell you what, Ted." And I started my dad talk. You know, I said, "You know what, Ted? They're only young ones, so I mean, you got to go do this stuff and enjoy
yeah,
it."
and
I said,
Chris
"We
was
can come
nice
back
enough.
and fish later."
Yep, and Chris was nice enough to come up, and he ended up catching for us, and we had a great game. And
It
then
was
it got a little heated because we're very Chris will tell you we're a very competitive family.
I would say that's a good way to explain that.
Yeah, and it was competitive. And my dad was pitching; he was a steady pitcher, and it was
He
me
was
against
steady
him.
pitcher, I was steady catcher. I don't know what happened to me there on the way over there. My stomach got upset,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I just didn't feel like running bases and running
No,
around and stuff. I
well, I'm
just,
glad. Be glad you didn't, because I was sweating my butt
oh,
off.
I
And
was,
we
yeah.
end up winning the game on my team. It was me, Theo, my wife Sue. Who else was on my team? My mom was on my team. She was running the bases. 70 some
She
years
did.
old. She was running
She
bases.
hit too.
She was hitting. So we had fun. We end up winning the game, and then we get back to the lake, and Chris and I go back out on the water.
I said, Ted, have you ever fished here at night? He's like, you know what? I don't do that very often.
Yep. So
I
I said,
said,
let's try it. Let's go
he
out and
said,
try it.
he said, let's try that. So we went out and started catching them again in the
We
dark.
started catching them again in the dark, and we could have probably still been catching them, but it got too dark, and there was a lot of bugs out
Oh my
because of that
gosh.
wet, warm weather. And I have new boat lights. I have the Yuletech nav light, which is bright. And Chris was like, "Can you lower that a little bit?"
Yeah,
So,
I did. I asked if he could lower the lights a little bit, dim them,
so I dimmed the
because they
lights
were
a little
so
bit.
attracting bugs.
Yeah,
It was
and
like to a bug zapper.
you should have saw the next morning on the boat how many bugs were laying on the dead on the thing, on the
Really?
deck. Oh yeah, I power washed my boat off the next day.
Oh wow.
But we went out there and I put the blue lights on and we went out and we hung out and it was pitch black out. We were on the point and we caught a couple fish that way.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. And we were catching them on Sankos. I was throwing top water and then getting nothing. And
Uh-huh.
we were catching them on the Sankos. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that was our night. Then we come back and Chris was bull crapping and you left pretty late because
I
you got
left
home
late.
at
Yeah.
1:30 or something. You texted me
Yeah.
and said you got home. It was around 1:30.
Yeah. I stayed and shot the bull with Ted's mom and dad, which I really enjoyed that. I
Mm-hmm.
They really were accommodating. I know it was your place, but they were really accommodating to me. This made me feel like I was another son in the house.
Yep.
And they're real easy to talk to, and we was just having good conversations, and time was flying, and it was like 20 after 11 when I left out of there. And now I have like at least an hour and a half drive to get out of there and come home. And I was telling Ted it got so bad that I had to pull over because I kept falling asleep.
Yeah.
And I told a story about I was coming up on an 18 wheeler in the passing zone, and I went to pass the 18 wheeler and fell asleep. And I actually passed the 18 wheeler and I woke up and looked back, and I was past it, never went off the road or anything that I know of. And, and the 18 wheeler was behind me. So I successfully passed, but don't remember doing it. So I told myself next exit, I'm out.
Yeah.
I got off and I hit the sheets and went in, went into the bathroom, washed my face, and I got something to eat. Sat in the car for 10 minutes and relaxed, and then I blasted off and came on home. And then you said to text you when I got home, and yeah,
Yeah.
I texted you. It was after 1 when I got home.
It was 1:30, I believe, because I
Yeah,
was laying there on the couch and my phone lit up the room and I looked and I seen you were there. I was like, all right, cool, he's home. And
yeah,
I should have probably texted you back and said okay, but I was so tired I didn't even text. I just turned over and went to bed. But I knew you got home, so I was able to go to sleep. So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I wasn't like staying up waiting for you to text me, but it was
Nah,
nice. It was nice to know you were home. It's always nice
right,
to
right.
know. Maybe next time you come up, maybe you stay over tonight. Maybe we
I,
fish Saturday, like a Saturday all day, get up Sunday. But I know you do church. My wife does church on Sundays,
yeah,
and
but
my church is out on the water with me right now. Like whenever I have time, I'll do the holiday thing with the family and stuff at
I can
church.
make
But
an exception probably.
yeah, but there is a church right down the street that my wife goes to. But
Yeah.
when I'm fishing, and that is my church. That's my getaway, and that's my connection with God when I'm out on the water. And I'm thinking about everything slows down when you're out on the water, and you just think. And
Well,
having you on a boat with good conversation helps a lot
yeah.
too. When you have a good partner and you're talking, like I said, we got into a little bit of not personal problem issue, but just personal issues with
No,
each other, what we
I'm
deal with.
comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable enough to tell you things,
Yeah,
and
and I am
it
too.
helps get stuff off my chest, you
Yeah,
know.
and me too. Me the same way. So it's nice to have a friend on the boat where you can talk
Yeah.
just about anything on the boat. And it just makes for a nice, enjoyable trip. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, I mean, you're welcome. My family loves you. I mean, you're welcome there anytime. You know
I
that.
wasn't sure what they felt like, to be
Oh
honest.
yeah, you had my mom's chicken noodle soup, so you're like in now. So
I'm in. I
you're
had
right.
potatoes,
I was
chicken
asking
noodle
my
soup.
mom, I'm like, why did you make chicken noodle soup? It's 98 degrees out.
Right.
She's like, all the kids love the chicken noodle soup. So she makes it all the time for
I
them,
wasn't
no
too
matter how.
sure about Tina, but
Yeah.
I think I grew on her. And after the family feud out on the wiffle ball, when we were leaving the field, she said, "Welcome to the family," like that. I
Yeah.
lost it. She
Yeah.
cracked me up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew I was in then.
Oh yeah, yeah, but it's a good time up there. It's everything's so convenient, it's so nice to be able
Everybody
to
was
get up.
nice. I mean,
We
I
just
just
walk out to the boat and get on go fishing, man. Like, and you want to come in, if you're out on a boat and you're not away from like an hour or two away from home, you're right there. So if you gotta go to the
yeah,
bathroom, we take the boat in, you get off and you go to the bathroom. If we want to go eat or
yeah,
something, you want to go get something to drink. I mean, we take drinks and stuff out with us, but I don't take like a lunch out there like I do when I used to travel to different
right,
places with me with coolers and stuff. I just get off the dock the boat, walk up to the house, take a half an hour breather, eat, sit in the air conditioning, and then go back out. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So that's
That's
really
that's
nice and
what's
convenient.
that's what's really cool about your place is it's
Hmm.
just like 100 yards from the dock.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then, last time we was up there, it was cold, windy, wet, nasty, and like you could literally dock the boat and walk up to the restaurant and eat if you had to.
yeah. Or
And
yes, we can just drive over to the restaurant.
but we
Yeah,
didn't do that, so we
yeah,
just went back to the house and drove over. But
yeah.
I mean, it's a really cool area. I like it.
Hmm.
And the fact was, after we did eat lunch, like we both had to go to the restroom, so you was like, no big deal. So we
Yeah,
motored across the lake, and it only
yeah,
with the size engine you have,
yeah.
I mean, it's not a small lake, but in
We
two
got there.
minutes, in two
We
minutes,
got
you
there.
can be the whole way across.
Yeah, we're rolling at about 46 mile an hour coming
Yeah,
across there, fully loaded. So it ain't bad. You get there in about 2 minutes, and then you jump
yeah,
off the boat and run up to the house, and you're good to go.
yeah. We was in the restroom within a couple minutes. But
Yep,
I told him, you know what? If it's okay with you, I'm ready for that restroom break because
yep.
we
I
ate at
hear
that
you.
restaurant and something hit me wrong.
Yeah.
I was
No,
like,
that's cool.
yeah.
That's cool. So let's get into the baits a little bit that we used. I mean, the most of the what baits that I used was I had a frog on, either light or dark. I had a chug bug on, white bone chug bug, and a black buzz bait, and a
Hmm.
Senko. And
Yeah.
then our color Senko was the black and blue flake. I had some shad colors, and I had some blue colors, and some green colors, and some red colors. But the dominant color was the black and blue flake.
Yeah, it is. And I was gonna ask you about that. Like, do you have a close second runner up to that?
There ain't nothing close to that color on my end, but one of the next best things used to be the green pumpkin laminate. It was green pumpkin with a pearl laminate. It's like two colors,
Okay.
bottom, belly, and the top.
Okay.
That was a really good color. Now it depends on the clarity of the water. When the
All
water's a
right.
little bit clearer, baby bass works good. The red shad that I had on there worked good.
Hmm.
When it's that dingy water, that green color was new. I never used that green color, so I used that, and I think I had a hit or two on. I might have caught one on it. I don't know
Yeah.
because we caught so many fish. I can't remember the colors. But usually my dominant is wherever I fish, black and blue flake, and it could
Huh.
be clear water or it could be dark water.
Yeah.
It seems like that color is the top dog on the Senko
Huh.
color, and they have 100 colors of Senkos.
Yeah.
Now, what's good too, though, and I shouldn't say that was that cinnamon, the cinnamon color with the pink firetail, and then the cinnamon color with the chartreuse, the green pumpkin with the chartreuse firetail, the little tail
Hmm.
at the end. That's
Yeah.
good too, because I caught a nice one on that one because the water was dingy and that chartreuse tail and that pink firetail glow in that water. So
Hmm.
that's sort of an attractant as well. But
Yeah.
nothing comes close to the black and blue flake for me.
Huh.
Nothing. Nothing
See,
comes close.
me being river guy, you're fishing the lakes. I'm fishing the rivers. So with the river, I like you're saying, I have a go-to bait, and that go-to bait is Rapalas.
Yeah.
And I'm a black and silver guy.
Yeah.
And if I have if I just told Dave this, we was texting back and forth earlier in the day, and I told him, I said, if I had the choice to take one bait and fish one bait all day long, what would I take? I said it would be a black and silver Rapala.
Mm-hmm.
And close second would be the black and the gold
Mm-hmm.
or the blue and white.
Yeah.
Those 3 colors are my top dogs, man. I mean, if I lose one and I'm out of the black and silver,
Yeah.
I'm digging for a black and gold or a blue and white.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't really, to be honest, I don't even though black and gold works good, I don't usually buy them. I
Yeah.
usually have I usually have a blue and white one in my box.
Growing up on the lakes with my uncle fishing canoes, that's all I threw was floating rapalas.
Yep.
And I would just reel them in, throw them out and reel them in.
Yep.
Sometimes I'd jerk them and stuff, but I caught bass growing up on rapalas. I mean,
Yep.
rapalas is tried and true lure. I mean, they make great stuff.
Yeah.
X
I
wraps
mean,
are one of my favorites too from
next
Rapala.
next time I come up there, I might throw some. But
You can throw them up there.
but
You know,
the only problem is the weeds. You
yeah,
know.
you'd have to fish the outer edges of the weed line, like you know
But
how when we,
out there where you're on the point,
yeah,
I
yeah, you
think I
can
can
throw
throw
that.
them on the point.
Yeah, and you'll catch smallmouth obviously on them out there as well.
Yeah, because I don't
But
think there was weeds out there on the point.
nah, there's some weeds at the bottom, but when you're throwing that Rapala, you're above the
Yeah,
weeds there.
yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know how deep that was there,
Well, it
but
goes from 2 foot, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and then
yeah.
25 right there. It drops, it steps down. That's what's
Uh-huh.
so good about that area, that point there. It's overlooked because it's wide open.
Hmm.
But I've noticed some people fishing on it. I don't know if they watch my videos or not, whatever, but I've noticed a lot more people going over there when I have
Hmm.
videos out and stuff. But it is what it is. I don't mind. I don't want people to. There's some times where I don't really like to share the spots.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody knows my home lake, and I fish that lake, and that lake isn't that big, and I could fish that whole lake in a day probably, or
Yeah.
close to a day. At least a weekend, I could fish that whole lake thoroughly.
Well, I think
Um,
we combed it pretty well.
yeah, and there's some
The
spots
edges,
that we could have
anyhow.
hit. We could have hit a little bit longer, maybe, but other than that, it was pretty good. So
I just wonder. I just wonder what it would be like. I mean, like we don't do anything in the middle because we're bass fishing. You know,
yeah,
I would think. eh, I mean,
it's a
there's supposed to be muskie in there,
there's a
walleyes,
big
all kind
soup
of
bowl.
stuff.
It's a big soup bowl. It all goes down in
Yeah.
a bowl, and
Huh.
we fish muskie on those weed edges, like where the graveyard is,
Yeah.
but about 100 yards out from that road,
Okay.
and it's all stumps and deeper there. And then there's a couple lines that we fish in there that are deeper to go from like
Yeah.
I like to fish 12 foot to 20 foot for muskie in
Yeah.
between that area. ten
Huh.
foot being probably the shallowest,
Right.
throwing into 10 foot and bringing it out through all that 12, 14, 18 foot of water for
Okay.
muskies is good, been good for me. I haven't muskie fished that whole lake yet, but you've seen Bobby and Brandon, they were up there
Yeah.
fishing. They caught three in like 6 casts
Hmm.
up there on baits that they were using. But it wasn't on either, you know what I mean? Because that muskie, I think that the weather affects muskie even more than it does bass,
Hmm.
because they're such a big fish, and you don't want to fish. It was 81 degrees the water. You don't want to really fish for muskie over 80 degrees because you stress them out. And then when you catch them, you have to revive them. And it's harder to revive a bigger fish like that in that warmer water than
Oh,
it is in
gotcha.
cooler water. Like
Yeah.
I've spent 30 minutes reviving a fish before I let it go out of my hands.
Huh.
And I've revived fish that I let go and I seen them come up and float, and I ran over and grabbed them, and we sat there and played with them until they kicked and went under. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever lost a muskie yet releasing it, which is, knock on wood, a great thing for me. I've
Right.
never killed a muskie, so I'm okay right now with that. And I spend the time. If it takes me 45 minutes to release a muskie, then I'm sitting there and release. I'll put the anchor down and I let it go, or I'll troll, or I'll have somebody run the trolling motor and I'll run it, because you never want to pull a fish when you're a lot of people put the fish in the water and they push them forward and backward. When you're
Right.
pulling that fish backward, you're suffocating the fish
Oh.
because their gills ain't made to go reverse. So
Right.
you're taking air away from them when you put that water through them the wrong way.
Ah.
So you
Gotcha.
keep it going. You want that water flowing over the gills through their
Yeah.
mouth. You don't shake them back. You don't go back and forward. You always go forward.
Okay.
You never, or you hold them in the water and you go side to side to get some water on, through their gills. You never want to go forward and backward.
Hmm.
When you go backward, you're actually suffocating the fish. And you'll see, and you can actually injure their gills, because when you push them and pull them forward, their gill raker, they open up because you're pulling backwards, and it hurts their gills, because that ain't the way the water's supposed to flow. It's supposed to flow through their
Right.
mouth and through there. So that's just something, a little tip for everybody. If you're
Yeah.
reviving a fish, don't go forward and backward, forward only, or keep them in the water and just let them do their thing. If you see their gills moving, just grab their tail and twist them back and like twist them side to side to get some more water. And when you can feel the tail, you can feel them have some energy. And when they
Yeah.
do that, they're ready to go. You can let it go and they and they go. Or they glide away and they go away. If you get a fish that goes out and starts turning, go over, grab them again, and let them in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And let them do it
Right.
again. So,
Like the trout like to do that crap all the time.
mhm.
You know,
Yeah,
I don't know. They're so finicky, them
they
trout.
are. They're very, 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 very fragile. The
I'll say.
trout.
Like
If
I
you're
had
catch,
one last night and I caught down there and I netted it and it was flopping around. So I just held the net and just let it calm down.
yeah,
And once it calmed down, I reached in and grabbed it. It had already spit the hook in the net. So I
yeah,
didn't have the hook to contend with. And I just put my hand under the fish and popped it out and let
yeah,
it fall into the water, which is only, like 2 feet or whatever.
yeah.
Didn't think anything of it. Well,
Mhm.
it hit the water, went down, and it started doing funky stuff like turning on its side and stuff. But it was in current,
Yeah,
and it went on its side once and then straightened up. And I was like, I'm watching and watching, and then finally, it caught the current and took off. And I was like, okay, he's
yeah.
full.
There you go.
But
All right,
those
man.
trout are so finicky.
Oh yeah, they are. So I am gonna get ready to get out of here so I can go
Sure.
watch my son play Pony League. But I did want to mention if anybody's in the chat or anybody wants to share, if you go over to my link, my Fish Angler link, I got hats, I got some face coverings, and I got some white shirts and some blue shirts. If you use my invite link and make a account, the free account, it's a free invite link over there. If you go over there and do that, you're gonna get something like this. So and I see it whenever you use my link and you make an account, it'll come up on my messages. If anybody makes an account and they get up there, they're gonna enter to win this stuff. So make sure you're sharing that out. Let people know. Use my Fish Angler link. It's a free invite link. It's free. You don't have to spend any money to join it. Get on the Fish Angler app using my link, my invite link, and then you'll be entered to win the hats, the shirts, and the face guard. So I was saving these for that reason for fishing season here, and I figured why not use my link as sort of like a giveaway. So if you use my link and you get in, you're going to get entered into win that apparel and stuff from Fish Angler. So go over there and make sure you use my link in the description of my videos. It won't be in this description to this video, this live yet, because I don't do it till later. And it's published tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock. So I'll have the links in tonight later on after the game. But you can go to any of my other videos and watch. Make sure you're going over and checking out our live. Our live went for a while and then it just cut out because I lost battery. So I apologize for that. But we were fishing for a long time, like 4 hours or something like
Did
that.
it
So,
did it
so
go out on your channel though?
it's on my channel, yeah.
Okay, it made
So,
it. Okay.
yeah, I made it on the channel because I was worried about it like cutting off and then it not me didn't hit. I didn't hit done and it didn't take it, but it
Yeah,
took it.
it
So
took.
we're
Okay.
good with our live and it's up and running. You can go
Okay.
back and look at our other live that we did a month before that and see the difference of everything. And yeah, go over and check that out. Check out my playlist. Make sure you're going over to Chris's channel. Chris is going to be doing some new stuff coming up here. I know him and Dave from Obsession. They sort of slowed down. They didn't. You didn't really stop doing your lives, but you're just not going to put them out as frequent as you were before.
Yeah.
So his lives are slowing down. But Chris is wanting to do some lives and things on his own channel, doing his own thing on there. So keep an eye out for that. When he's on there, please guys go over, show some support, jump into his lives, make some comments and stuff. I'll probably be on a few of his lives with him on his channel as we start out and stuff until he gets big and then he won't want me on the channel anymore. So, but yeah, make sure you're checking out City Sticker, Chris. I will also put his link in my description of this as well, so people can click over. If Chris is in here, if he wants to, if Indiana Chris is in here, if he wants to share City Stickers link in here, that would be appreciated. But I'm gonna go in. I wish we could stay longer because we can talk forever. You know that. But keep an eye out for some product reviews. I'm slacking on that right now because I'm so busy with things. Chris and I will be doing some live reviews. I got a bunch of cameras that I got to do. I have a cart. I have a car jump starter. I'm gonna probably be getting more stuff in the mail soon. So just hang with me. I didn't do a premiere video tonight because I really didn't have much fishing videos this week. But this weekend coming up, I am cutting a video regardless. It's gonna be me and my son fishing, so there will be a video out for that. And if I don't have a video, I'm gonna be doing something on Wednesdays at 7, something like this. And hunting season's not that far away. So Chris and I are getting into the food plot thing. And you guys all know that Chris, he shared your link. So thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks,
Chris is
Chris.
big on the food plots and he's very knowledgeable about the food plots and stuff like that with attracting deer. So we're going to be on together, and we're probably going to be on with my buddy Sean from Jinxum Sense, the owner of Jinxum Sense, Sean and Dawn. So make sure you're checking out Jinxum Sense in my description as well. Hunting season's coming up. Get over there. Get your scent ordered. Hey, Dave, thanks for coming in, buddy. Get your scent ordered now. They are doing a bottling party. I think it's August 15th. I believe they're doing a party with the bottling. So all new fresh scent coming out. So make sure you're ordering your scent or any other products, mineral, seed. I'll be ordering seed. I'm actually working on a mix that Chris actually helped. We're working on a mix through Drink Some Sense that I'm going to be using this year. So keep an eye out for all that content coming out as well, guys.
Yep.
You have anything else to add to that, Chris?
I mean, I think you covered it all there.
All right, man. All right,
Check
guys.
out my channel. Check out Ted's.
Yeah,
Be watching for more.
for sure.
I'm
So,
gonna get
Chris,
up
as
there and
always,
fish some more.
as always, I enjoyed you being here, buddy. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and then like I said, make sure you're going over to Chris's channel. He's going to be doing some stuff on his channel, a little different, maybe a little more, some lives. He's going to start up and stuff like that. So I'm going to help him with that as much as I can. And yeah, I'm going to go watch my son play up in Pony League today.
Yep.
So I'm
Last
going
thing
to
I
head.
want to add.
Uh-huh.
Last thing, and I'll be quiet. Was I just seen on the phone there that Pennsylvania's going to have some Sunday hunting coming
I
up.
saw. I've announced. I put that on my Facebook page today. I saw they passed that. They signed the
Yep.
bill or whatever. So yeah,
Yep.
that's good. That'll help with
That'll-
some. That'll be nice to have some extra time. Hunting
Yep.
on Sundays in PA.
Yep.
For sure. So.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming in, Chris. I enjoyed it as always.
Appreciate it.
Keep an eye out for more from me and Chris coming up
I'll
here.
be talking to you.
Some urban hunting. We're gonna get some urban hunting content out there as well. So, like I always say, guys, take your kid fishing or hunting. We're gonna preserve our sport and pass it on to future generations, and we will see you.
See you guys.